All right, so I'm back. I took down the Tulsi Trump video and just the comments. And look, and this is why I don't like comments. And I'm ready again to just say I don't care if I get five. If you're gonna watch somebody because you're allowed to comment on their channel, that's the dumbest thing. I mean, you couldn't comment after you watched All in the Family in 1974, right? Could you leave comments? Oh, I don't like the way they were talking about draft dodgers and going to Canada. Ooh, I've got to get my 2 cents in. Yeah, maybe some people wrote a letter to the network. Most people just watch the damn show, right? They just watch when you listen to a podcast. Can you comment? If it's like Spotify, is there a way to comment? Maybe there is. I don't know. But I do these videos, right? It's just kind of like a think piece. If Tulsi and Trump got together. Well, I liked Tulsi, but Israel, Israel, but Israel, but Israel. But okay, so am I the channel you go to watch when you think of Israel and Palestine? Have I covered that a lot? I did say in one video that the rules of engagement over there were ridiculous, but here's my point of view. I'm not pro-Palestine. I'm not pro-Israel. I am pro me. How's that? I am pro me. So here's what I would like to happen, right? For me. Oh, you're just mean. You call yourself, and I get this. You call yourself a Christian. You call yourself a libertarian. You call yourself conservative. You call yeah. I don't call myself shit. Okay. You know what I call myself right now? Confused, because the world is going to hell. So here's what I don't want to do. I don't want to send money to Israel. Doesn't mean I don't like Jewish people, right? Okay. Don't want to send money there. Okay. Don't want to send money to Ukrainians. Doesn't mean I don't like Ukrainians, but I think there's a lot of corruption going on over there. Well, what about Russia? Yeah, a lot of corruption in Russia too. See, the founders kind of had this right when they said to avoid foreign entanglements. But now we got people running around on college campuses yelling genocide, but nobody's been yelling about genocide that's been happening here since 1973, right? And now we're going to have more genocide because states are passing laws, and then now you've got ballot initiatives like they did in Ohio. So, the Democrats are going to have this until birth and then past birth. They'll do it. They'll figure out a way to do it for 2-year-olds at this rate. And by the way, if you think that's a crazy slippery slope argument, remember when people said, well, they just want to get married. 2 guys just want to get married. Now you get people that want to chop off their genitals, right? So they could be something that they weren't born to be. Yet you've got that. And I don't think anybody had that on their bingo card. Oh, yeah. People who are going to want to chop body parts off in order to change into something else. Yeah, I got it. I knew that was going to happen. Oh, but some of those crazy people talked about slippery slope. If you allow this, then this is going to happen. As much as I want to be libertarian, there are times where it might be better to have an authoritarian come along and just say, no, this is killing people. Stop it. Life, liberty, and the pursuit. If you can't do those things, then how do you have liberty if you can't live, right? Live life. I mean, so when people come over here and they just immediately, are you a one issue person to the point? Like, I am pro-life. I am unapologetically pro-life. There are maybe a couple of exceptions to that rule. Like, I'm not a big fan of rape or incest or any of that kind of stuff. But generally speaking, I am pro-life. So if you're going to talk about genocide, you're going to talk about barbarism. Yeah, it started supposedly, right, with something that is just excused at the beginning back on October 7th. Well, they had it coming to them. Just like America, we had it coming to us on 9/11, right? Same people saying the same thing. 3,000 people. Do those 3,000 people deserve to die? Did those 1,400 or how many people deserve to die? Did all of those people just deserve to die randomly? Do babies in the womb who can feel pain at a certain point, do those babies deserve to die? They didn't even see the light of day, but yet they're inconvenient, even though there are probably millions of people who would like to adopt a healthy baby. Right? Oh, but you're forcing the girl to do something that she doesn't. Yes, and I didn't force the girl to do what she did initially to have this problem, right? And I know there are adults, there are all kinds of people. They should have privacy in their own home. You know, I thought there was this thing called birth control, but I guess it doesn't work. And no, I'm not against birth control. Just I don't know if I can play this game. I don't know. You want to talk about Israel every 2 seconds. You know, look, there's a lot of corruption in the highest levels of not just our government here in the United States, but all around the world. And some people blame one group of people for all of this. But I'm thinking everybody is responsible. Everybody, because even if there was just one group of people doing this, there's all of us against the few of them. And what do? We sit on our hands and we find ways, like somebody will say, I believe in this. And you go, well, that's stupid. I don't believe in that. And you're an idiot. Okay, done then. I don't want to talk to you. I don't have a conversation. Well, you're just kind of unhinged. I mean, all I said was that you were stupid and you were an idiot. You didn't know. Oh, okay. Well, that's a good way to have a conversation. I want to participate in that. I always say this when I get to the black-pilled point that I'm at, but you know, it's way better to be a normie. It's way better. You look at the scorecard and you go, okay, let me see here. There's a Democrat, a Republican, and a third party, whatever. I don't like any of it. I just, you know, I'm going to go out for an ice cream and go to the driving range for a half hour and hit golf balls. That'll make me feel better. And people say it doesn't do any good. Well, Trump is better. You should vote for Trump. Nope. You better vote for Biden to keep Trump out. Nope. Vote for RFK Jr. because he's neither Trump nor Biden. Vote Libertarian because you'll vote your conscience. Vote whoever. It doesn't matter. I mean, this is where we're at, right? And so if I put something out there that someone is against, then why are you watching me? You're just here to troll me? And some dude left like a 14-page essay. You can't just, and see, this is the crap with the comments. I'm going to write a book to you. You're not going to read it, but I'm going to write it. And the person is getting all passive aggressive in the post. I know you don't like these types of comments, but I'm going to do it anyway because I know you don't like it. Nobody's going to watch. Nobody's going to understand this video. Nobody's going to watch this video. I can't grow this platform because I don't have the temperament to grow a political platform. I barely have temperament to do the other channel that I do. And I don't have comments over there. But I still get, believe me, I still get things. And so the bottom line here is on Politically Homeless, it's probably going to be just me doing the occasional interview because as soon as I start just putting out content for the sake of putting out content. Now, there are exceptions to that. Again, the engagement video I did, the rules of engagement, where Israel doesn't seem to have any rules of engagement over there. People like that because there are a bunch of people that hate Israel, right? And so that works. That's a grift. You know, if you can just keep hitting that grift, Dave, and maybe you'll grow your channel. Just keep bashing on Israel. You know what? I don't want money to, here's the grift. I don't want money going to Israel. How's that? Is that good enough for you? I'm not an anti-Semite. I believe that Israel should have its own country and so forth. But I just don't want to be a part of any of this. As a U.S. citizen, why aren't we taking care of whatever happened to America first? Well, see, that's Donald Trump. Did Donald Trump cut off all aid to Israel, by the way? Did he cut it all off? Isn't Jared Kushner kind of really in with Netanyahu and all those people? Well, he's better than Biden on all of this. So Biden is the worst. Biden is, you know what? Biden is telling Netanyahu how to do stuff. Netanyahu isn't listening. Look, Biden is placating both sides of the fence here because you've got nowhere to go. Nobody has, and I'm not sorry for Biden or anything. I don't feel like sorry for him, but he's got one wing of his party that is pro-Palestine. He's got another wing that is pro-Israel. But if you combine everybody in the House of Representatives and in the Senate, it's overwhelmingly pro-Israel. You got John Fetterman, who had a stroke, who's as loud a critic of anything that's against Israel. He's louder than anybody right now in the Senate. The stroke therapies did something to the guy. He's somewhat coherent, but people are like, what? Democrats aren't supposed to say this out loud. This is outrageous. Well, all the politicians are corrupt. There are lobbies everywhere. There's a pro-Israel lobby. Everybody knows they've got deep pockets. This has nothing. Let me, for some of my Christian friends here, let me be clear. I'm not bashing the state of Israel. If your theology is that these are God's chosen people and all of that, if that's your theology, and by the way, that theology wasn't really dominant. I'll say I'm being careful with words here, until that whole dispensationalism came along in the 1800s. And not to be not to be too conspiratorial, but I think the guy's name was Darby, who started all of that. And he was financed by certain people. And that's all I'm going to say. And I know that sounds like a crazy conspiracy theory, but before that, you had kind of a supersessionist view. Old Testament, New Testament, Jesus comes along, Jesus satisfies the law. Jesus, he even says, I fulfilled the law, right? I didn't abolish, but I fulfilled. Okay, so it's tricky. And this is why there's so much mystery in all this, and why you can have so many different interpretations of everything. I don't know what the right interpretation is. I follow the Jewish carpenter, but again, the Jewish carpenter was killed by who? So I mean, you have to look at all of that and then make a decision. This all had to happen, though, in order for Christianity to exist, for Christ to be a meaningful figure in world history. His death and resurrection had to happen. And yeah, I know who he was killed by. I understand. But I don't look at it just black and white like that, because it's just too complicated. It's above my pay grade. And on different days of the week, I could see, yeah, it says in Genesis, God's chosen people, the covenant, does it ever break? Does it end? Jesus said he fulfilled all of that. So does that go away? Does that go along side by side? Are there two methods to salvation if you're a Christian? The Jews have one way and the Christians have another way. Why did Jesus then say, I am the truth, the way, and the life? Why did he say, I am the only way? He did. I mean, and if you're not religious, this doesn't matter to you. But here's the deal. When it comes to this whole Israel thing, it matters. So look, I know Tulsi Gabbard, she took money from some Jewish oligarch, right, for her campaign. What is it, Sheldon Adelson or whatever his name is? Or no, she met with him. I don't know if she got money from him. I know Trump got a ton of money from him. So, and then that's where you get all your conspiracies, but they're not necessarily conspiracies. It's just a fact. This guy gave somebody money and his background is this. I'm not ignoring it, but I'm just tired of the, she'd be better if she, Kennedy too. Kennedy lost me when he supported the craziness over there. So who's your candidate? Dr. Shiva, right? Because Dr. Shiva is full on crazy. Yeah, I'm not saying he's full on crazy in a bad way, but I mean, look, if you want to cast the ultimate protest vote, you don't like Kennedy. I've just got the shirt. Doesn't mean I'm going to vote for him. The shirt it's nice. It goes with the background here. It could be Canary 2024. It could be Campbell's Soup 2024. Like, could be like an Andy Warhol thing. Now, maybe I should get that Campbell's Soup 2024. I'm really thinking of getting the Nobody 2024, right? Vote down ballot, vote for your local races. Don't even bother with that. I mean, because either Trump is going to be landslided and the Congress is going to go full Democrat, or Trump will win and he'll have coattails. He'll have all of these MAGA Trumpites coming in which it's fun to watch the media. I will say this. What Trump does is he makes the media go bonkers like crazy. So that's a good thing. But for those of you who want me to be anti-Israel or anti-Palestine or I'm not. I am pro Dave. I want money coming into Dave. Guess what? Not from this channel, because that's not happening. I'm just saying, when I say that, here's a little caveat, little asterisk, right? I want gas prices to go down. I want to pay $2.05 a gallon for gas again. I want interest rates to come down. I want inflation to come down. I want a secure border, southern border, secure, and a fair but strict immigration policy. That's what I want. Just to clarify, those are the things I want. Now, am I going to get it with Kennedy? I don't know. I think Kennedy is a little less prone to go to war. And I'm thinking that Kennedy would be a diplomat and a negotiator and somebody who has a brain, who goes out there and actually tries to get the two sides together. But you've got these wars, the one in Ukraine, right? How long has that been going on? A while, right? And through history, if you go back, that's not going away. This is intertribal activity. Now, if, Putin went to Poland or something, then you might have a problem, right? But again, the world has changed. It's a multipolar war. People who world war, it's a Freudian slip. I think what I'm trying to say here is that the United States has so much hubris, and most of the people in the government believe it's still like 1994. And Bill Clinton is president, Newt Gingrich is the Speaker of the House, and they're going back and forth, and people are kind of getting along, and we're all united that we're going to do this, that, and the other. We're not united on anything anymore. And one last thing, in order for things to actually change, where people get off their asses and do stuff, guess what has to happen? More pain, like a lot more pain, like 2020 on steroids kind of pain. And then people will say, well, these are authoritarians. They're locking us down. This is bad. I want my freedom. But some people want to be told what to do all the time. Now, again, I'm wearing the Kennedy shirt. People are going to accuse Kennedy of being just a closet. Well, he's not a closet liberal. He's a liberal with some old school liberal tendencies, which I prefer over some of what the conservatives are up to today, because they're not conserving anything. They suck at conservatism. I mean, you look at the social issues too. It's a mess. We're not really trying to do anything significant. We're just trying to get votes. We're going to make the women in the suburbs happy. We're going to make all the college girls happy who go from dorm room to dorm room. We're going to make all of them happy. In the meantime, we're going to keep spending money we don't have, right? So you got these small social issues that should be litigated, whatever, at the local level. And you've got these big, national debt, people pouring in through the border, get these ginormous issues, and the government just keeps kicking the can. How many more times are we going to have a continuing resolution? How many more? We just keep doing it. We don't do balanced budgets. We don't spend money as if we don't have it, because we don't have it, but we're spending it like we do have it. I don't know, folks. I mean, you can leave all the stupid comments you want. I'm screening every comment. And if you want to leave a comment with your own frustration, I'd be happy to post those comments. But if you're going to make fun of me, or, I thought you were this, I thought you don't know, we've never hung out. I've not hung out with you. There's not one person that is, a subscriber that I've hung out with. There might be one guy. I don't know, maybe two. And they know that I'm not a bad person. I'm wrestling with this stuff. The channel name would be a reflection of that. Who am I for? I don't know. So I'm trying to work through that. I mean, if I do, maybe, God forbid, I change the name of the channel again to I found something that I like. That's what the new name. But it will change. And guess what? People will always disappoint me. It's just life. I don't like people, and people will disappoint me. I'm supposed to love God and love people. I'm having trouble with the love people part. The love God, I'm doing okay with that, but I'm wondering, God, why do you keep sending these nasty people my way? I mean, if you're trying to build up a tolerance for it, it hasn't worked. It's only gotten worse, and I'm even more frustrated, more confused, and it's not getting any better anytime soon. I can feel that 2024 is designed to be a matrix of chaos. It's dividing people even more. The DeSantis people that I talked to, those people are still just like, I cannot believe they didn't even really consider DeSantis. I can't believe it. They want a popularity contest. They say things like, well, we need somebody who's not awkward and socially awkward. And we need somebody who's got a sense of style and charisma. So this is why we need Trump. You know what I want? I want it all to go away. I want to have government for and by the people at the local level. I want accountability. I don't want to send money to foreign countries. So if you're pro-Israel, I don't want to send money to Israel. Sorry, it's not worth it. Oh, but we don't need an ally in the region. What we need is infrastructure here in the United States. What we need is a booming economy. You know, why can't we be more kind of like Switzerland or a place that says, you know what, it's none of my business. That's how the founders, you can go read some Ron Paul, go read some founders directly, and you'll find that they were not into foreign interventions at all. They said to avoid foreign entanglements. And all we know how to do, this is if you want to say this is an American policy and it's always been, that's not true. That's not true. This is the last 100 years of American foreign policy. This has not been normal for us. And so now that you've been gaslit into believing it's normal, and that's been going on ever since everyone's been alive, now that you believe that stuff, you're now fighting against something that you shouldn't have to fight for. You know, and we're supposed to be a fairly unique culture. All right. And we're not. We're not a unique culture. We're not doing any of that melting that we were supposed to do. People are kind of doing their own thing. And then they get angry if you say, yeah, we would be stronger if we were kind of together. And then immediately they say, well, you want to be like Russia? I'm not saying I want to be like Russia, but Russia agrees most of the time with what they're doing. So if the people agree with the government, I think you're going to have a much more relaxed, harmonious place to be. And right now, this is all balkanized and fragmenting, and people are freaking out, and there's no joy. There's just misery. That's just the way I see it. Now, personally, I can manufacture my own joy despite the comments and the evil things and all of that. I can manufacture my own joy. But when you talk about genocide, here's the last point again about genocide. So you missed the one that started here in 1973 and continues every year. The Democrats want more of that. Some Republicans sort of want less of it, but it's all kind of paying lip service. Are they losing on the issue? Probably, because apparently people understand it as not genocide. They think killing babies inside the womb is because you can't see it, I guess, most of the time, although the doctor and yeah, this is a very personal decision. I hear this all the time. Sure, and I'm sure people have regrets about it, right? After it's all over. And those people, by the way, are forgiven if they ask for forgiveness. I'm not a mean person. People make mistakes. I mean, most of the people I grew up with made those kinds of mistakes. And I didn't say, hey, dude, I can't associate with you anymore because you think this is okay and I don't. I'm just going to let it go. At one time in my life, I didn't really care. I was sort of agnostic and didn't care about it. The church, too. The church is just like, yeah, whatever. Most churches don't talk about this anymore. But yeah, am I against genocide? Yeah, I'm against genocide. Let me say this about what's going on in Palestine. People think that's a genocide. Okay, that's your opinion. Doesn't look good. That's all I'm going to say. It looks kind of like they're going a little overboard, right? Just a little overboard. 32,000. And then, I'm about to get my Candace Owens moment here, right? I'm not going to say Christ is king, but for me, Christ is king, right? So I'm like, whoops, I'm in big trouble. And that doesn't mean I'm anti-Semitic just because I said Christ is king. Why is that anti-Semitic to say Christ is king? I mean, these are arguments, by the way, that have gone on for thousands of years, right? If you say Christ is king or Jesus is my Lord, I don't understand how that's anti-Semitic. It's almost like saying, I get the same people who I say, I'm not going to vote for Biden or Trump. And they'll say to me, well, then that's a vote for Biden. How? I'm not voting for Biden and I'm not voting for Trump. So how's that a vote for Biden? I'm still failing to get because that would have been a vote for Trump if you had just voted for Trump. But I'm not voting for Biden, so it's not a vote for him. I mean, Trump needs to get his own votes. He doesn't have to. It's weird how the logic goes. It's a missed opportunity for them. What about all the people that never vote? Why aren't you on their ass about what they're going to do? Nope. You're a voter. You're a registered voter. You voted for Trump before, and you need to get on the bandwagon. It's nobody's turn except for Trump's turn. Folks, free will. You got to have your conscience. I know people from 2020, and I didn't like the third party choices that year, really. I was toying with voting for Jo Jorgensen, who ran as a libertarian, but she was talking about, I don't know, BLM rioters or something and how they have rights. And I was like, you know what? Our border is a mess. And we've got these lockdowns and all of this tyranny, libertarian party. I'm thinking, oh, they're going to be great on this. She was talking about all these other things, qualified immunity, which is a big issue, but it's not bigger than locking us down and taking away our freedom. It's not bigger than that. So people need to prioritize. And by the way, you're never going to find a candidate. It's like a church. I've said this before, that checks every box for you. They'll check like 7 out of 10 if you're lucky, maybe even 6 out of 10. And in the case of Trump, it might be 2 out of 10, right? But if you think that's better than the 0 out of 10 for Biden, I get your point. But then you've got to think, who's going to follow through and do what they say? Who's going to be able to work with the other side to persuade them? See, the whole political scene right now is a mess because it's become so tribal. People don't work together anymore. They don't compromise. And so you're left with these issues that polarize people and get people so angry. Here's the deal. I mean, maybe if you can convince a number of people around the world, right, to get together somewhere and to maybe form this giant militia. And if you're pro-Palestine, get that militia to Palestine and then fight against Israel and then fight to the death. But do me a favor, leave me out of it. I've got a family. I've got bills to pay. I've got a mortgage, and I want money to stay here in this country. I want interest rates to go down. I want inflation to go down. If we're admitting that we're a war-based economy, and maybe a war comes along that you don't mind, a lot of people don't mind Russia and Ukraine. Well, like, yeah, Russia, Ukraine, I like that one, but I don't like Israel, Palestine, or vice versa. It's just, I don't like any of them. And it's not because I'm a pacifist. I mean, if we're attacked, or if we think we're going to get attacked, then we should stop the attack. But when it comes to picking fights with other countries or supporting different teams in those fights, I'm against any of it. I'm against it. Well, we need allies. Why do we need allies again? People said that Russia needed a bunch of allies. You know what happened? There's this new global order, new polar world, whatever they call it. It's not the United States anymore being the lone global superpower, even though there are politicians that still believe that. Anyway, folks, these are my true thoughts and feelings about the matter. I'm probably wrong about 98% of what I just said, according to most people who make comments on this channel, and it's very frustrating. Um, I sort of changed my mind too after all those comments about Tulsi. Yeah, Tulsi has kind of gone full MAGA, right? And I like her. I thought she would make a good president a few years ago. Maybe she wouldn't. Maybe someone said, well, if Trump dropped dead the day before he was sworn in or something, or the day after, then Tulsi would immediately become president. Then I could probably do that if I knew for sure that was going to happen. That's pretty cold. See, even though I'm really serious and kind of angry and frustrated about this, at some point, I just, you have to let it go. I mean, I know there are people dying. There are people dying all over the world, people dying of starvation that you're not hearing about each and every day. Yeah, there shouldn't be a genocide anywhere. There shouldn't be 30,000 dead people to counter the 1,200 that were killed originally. And I know everybody's got a theory that didn't happen. It was the CIA. It was Israel attacked itself, just like I heard we attacked ourselves on 9/11. All right. Can we just put down the conspiracy theories? I know you can go to X22 or whatever report it is and watch the thing that you want to believe and see each day. That's called grifting, right? If somebody is saying what you want to hear each and every day, and you need your heroin fix and you need to go over there and watch and listen to what they're going to say, that's grifting, all right? And they know you're going to keep coming back. Give me another fix. Give me another news headline, and then break it down in your own excellent way. Well, this is what I do. I look at all of this stuff from like 20,000 feet, and it's garbage. It's mostly garbage. Here's what I believe in: the sanctity of human life, right? Why, if we're not doing, and libertarians for you too, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You can't pursue happiness if you're dead. Life, I think, begins at conception. I think science pretty much bears that out. Now we can have an argument about heartbeats and pain and all this stuff. We tried that for a couple of years and it was pretty convincing, but because we decided to throw this back to the States, rather than let people decide in their heart how to deal with this, I think that's caused a problem. So legislating this, much like a prohibition, probably wasn't a good idea to begin with. But if we had a moral and righteous population, the genocide, which has been going on since 1973, would stop overnight, because people would say, hey, that's stupid. And people would be much more careful not to create that problem in the first place. And if it did happen, it would go back to the old days where people would say safe, legal, and rare. But again, the legal implies that there's still going to be a genocide going on. I'm not saying you're going to stop all of it. You're just never going to do it, because human beings make mistakes, and people panic and they feel their life is going to end if they have to have a baby and so forth, especially if they're a teenager, especially if it happened under a circumstance where, you know, there was this adult that interacted with a minor, which I hear these stories all the time. It's disgusting. It's horrible. I understand the premise there. I completely do. If we eliminated 90% of what's happening and all of those sort of fringe things that happened were allowed to go forward, not that I want any human being not to have the opportunity to have life, but it would be way better than what we're doing now. It would be a huge improvement, but we're not going to get there because we're not a decent, moral, righteous society. We are a depraved, lazy, complacent society. And technology is only going to make that worse. But yeah, you can have differing opinions on Israel and Palestine, and you should be able to live peaceably with your neighbor. But for some reason, that's got people completely apoplectic, whereas, you know, the stuff that happens at Planned Parenthood, nobody cares. The stuff that happens on the weekends in certain cities, yeah, Nobody really cares about that, right? Nobody cares. I mean, you need a certain degree of authoritarianism. I hate to use that word, to go in and stop these things from happening. You need to lock certain places down. You need to stop the army from coming in and saying, we're going to kill all these people because there's one person in there that we think is a bad dude, but we're going to mow down 100 trying to get the one bad dude that we think is a bad dude. And then maybe like those aid workers, right? See, this video, I think, is making a case for me being sympathetic, right? But I'm not pro anybody. What I'm pro is pro knock it off on both sides. Just knock it off. Russia, Ukraine. Russia, did they have the right to go into Ukraine? Maybe. NATO is coming. NATO is almost here. NATO is knocking at the door now. Russia is right there. Russia is saying, yeah, we don't want NATO, so we're going to go in there and we're going to stop this. And everybody keeps dumping weapons, pouring weapons in there because they don't want to lose their grip on this so-called, what do they call it? The world order of normalcy or normal. I don't know. The United States has a word for it. Russia has their own word for it because they know they've already kind of broken that, this multipolar world order, which rules-based, that was the American term. The rules-based order, you're breaking the rules-based. What rules-based order? We created a rules-based order that the rest of the world has to follow. Why? What are we? Are we the New World Order? The United States is like the capital of the New World Order? No. Oh, but Dave, don't you think this is the greatest country that's ever been? Maybe, but still, that's not the point. We don't act like we're so great that we have to boss everybody else in the world around. The founders didn't believe in that. And the founders are smarter than any of the politicians that are alive today. But they own slaves. How could you say that? See how I'm playing devil's advocate? Because these are the kind of comments. This is what I'm going to get. Well, they were slave owners. So how can you say that? I'm saying when it came to the government part of it and how to found a country and then how to have a constitution, how to have a Bill of Rights and a charter and all these things that we had, all right, we were better at it for a while. The whole thing's unraveled because we're not a moral, decent, righteous group of people who, again, didn't have to look over their shoulder because the other guy was going to stab them in the back at any moment. Now we've got just a boatload of backstabbers and lobbyists and all kinds of people who are there just to make money, just to grift. They don't really care about what happens to the country. We saw that with Big Pharma, right? And we're going to continue to see it. And it wouldn't surprise me in 2024 if we didn't see some other sort of, what do they call that? October surprise. They can't let Trump back in. I don't think they're going to be able to let Trump back in. And I say they because this is all kind of structured. And the Kennedy thing is just me saying, middle finger, not playing. Sorry. Doesn't mean I'm like, yes, Kennedy. I know his past. I know he's a Kennedy. I know all about that stuff. He's the only guy who doesn't really talk like a lunatic. And don't get me started on Dr. Shiva, because Dr. Shiva talks like a lunatic on the other side of the spectrum. The only reason I mention him is because he's definitely not pro-Israel. So if you want that kind of candidate, go over to Dr. Shiva. And I'm not pro-Israel. I'm not against Israel. I am neutral. I am Switzerland. All right. I should just call this channel I Am Switzerland. Give me my money. That's what I want. Show me the money. Give me the money, the tax dollars, the theft that's going on. I would like to see that money stay right here, right where it's needed most. They got a bridge collapse in Baltimore. They got an island burnt to a crisp, Maui. They've got a toxic spill in East Palestine. They've got crappy water still to this day in Flint, Michigan. They got all kinds of problems all over the country with chemicals in the soil and chemicals in the air. Come on, people. We don't need to keep fighting war. I mean, go let someone else fight the war. And if they run out of money, then guess what? The war stops. Let Israel build a Trump wall, right? 1,000 feet tall. They can airdrop supplies over the other side, and then everybody can live peaceably. Or, maybe Israel needs another country. Maybe Russia can give Israel a new plot of land in Siberia, right? And then the Palestinians too, maybe they can move just so everybody gets the hell away from one another. And we can find them a nice piece of land somewhere, maybe in Western Canada, right? Bigger than what they have, way bigger than what they have now. And then we can fund everything from all the money that we save on endless war. We could build them both colossal societies, wipe our hands of it, and say, okay, we're done. We're all done. You guys go live happily ever after. And that's all I'm going to say about this. So again, if you're going to leave stupid, ridiculous comments, yeah, oh, you have thin skin. Yes, it's great when you start saying, when you do ad hominem stuff and personal attacks, that's yeah. Anybody after a while would say, why? First of all, why are you watching then? If this irritates you so much, why are you watching? Find something else to watch. I've told people to get lost. I know lost people have left this channel, and I've told them beforehand, just leave. And they do, okay, I'm going to go. And they do. And my subscriber count goes down in real time. I watch it go, 887 today, down to 822. I lost 50 people. When I did my Trump thing saying there's no way, I repent of my Trumpness, I'm sorry. And since then, not that I've come back around, but I at least I understand. People think Trump is like, throwing a wrench into an electric power grid and watching the sparks fly around. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I think it's overrated. It might be fun to watch. And you know what I need to do is really just stock up on popcorn for this election season. I'm just going to grab some popcorn and laugh at it all because I'm not invested in any of it. I'm not. This is the least important election of my lifetime. And on that, I'm all done. Talk to you soon. Maybe.